Yeah, almost completely raw. There's no mixing going on with those guitars. Tons of low end. That is just what's coming off the speaker. Yeah.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Right, today I thought I would do something completely different. And I want to talk about my first ever attempt at home recording. Now, I'm not talking about putting your phone in front of your guitar speaker and recording ideas. Like, that doesn't really count. That's not what I'm talking about. And back in the day, I've been playing since like 2002. I didn't have any recording stuff back then. What I would do is I'd take this like a Sony Walkman or a Panasonic Walkman, add a little mic on it, put a tape in and just record ideas through that. And I didn't do that often. And that doesn't really count. And I guess that's how everyone did it back in the day. You would either use like some sort of like boombox, or you'd use, something rudimentary like a tape recorder, like a tape player. And it was just, a couple of riffs here and there. Maybe I might get the acoustic guitar out and sing along and do some song like that. But that was pretty rare. But I'm talking about my first ever attempt again, like bass, drums, guitars, and trying to make it sound good and putting it out there in the world. And I will show you that in a bit. And the track I want to show you, it was done in 2007. Now, been playing guitar for about 5 years up to that point. I'd been in bands. We'd recorded in studios here and there. Nothing of note, to be honest. My first band, we weren't great. We were just like a local band. We had a lot of fun, wrote some pretty fun songs. But I'm not going to show you that stuff because it's not recorded by me. I knew absolutely nothing about production, mixing, all that kind of stuff. I just played on those tracks. Back then, it was about just getting a sound that sounded cool, and you would just sort of, let everyone else sort everything out. It was that traditional. We saved up, and we went to a studio. It was all digital, no tape or anything, and then we just let them do it all. I just knew nothing back then. It would have been good to know at least something, so then I could tell them what I actually wanted out of the session. Fast forward a few years, I'm still playing in bands and everything, but there's ideas in me and I want to get them out, so I attempted to record. And at the time, I was 19, 20 years old, 2007. Now, the setup for the home recording, I went into my brother's bedroom because my brother is actually a live sound engineer, or he was, and he had a lot of like home recording equipment. He dabbled. He didn't really do a lot of home recording, but he did do live sound for a number of years, and he gave me a couple of hints on what to do. But at this point, I wasn't really listening to him, to be honest. My brother actually had some recording equipment. He had a couple of mics. I never really knew what they were. He probably had like some sort of Shaw mic or something. And he had an interface, an Edroll interface. God knows how old that was at that point, but it's like mid 2000s. He had an iMac, an Apple iMac from around that time. But I didn't use the interface at all with this. What the setup was my guitar. It was an Epiphone Special 2. The pickups on that at the time were pretty good. I think it came with like Alnico pickups. Always sounded good, that guitar, and just good enough to record with. And that was going into a Zoom 505.2 for guitar. And I was on the 5150 emulation. And I thought it sounded pretty good at the time through the amp. Really, really, like probably one of the best like digital emulations you could get at the time, besides Line 6. I thought it sounded cool. And then I was going through the front end of my high watt max watt combo, kind of a fairly big 1x12 high watt, and the max watt was like solid state, and I'm going through the clean channel. So yeah, and it sounded okay. And this is the big part. I wasn't micing it up and going through the interface. I didn't know how to use an interface. So what I did was I had a camcorder, I think it was a Panasonic or a Toshiba, something like that, like little handheld camcorder that you use DV tapes in. So it was about this big, and it had like a built-in microphone. I was like, what I could do is play drum loops, get some drum loops together, put them in iMovie, press play, and I could count myself in, play the guitar along to the loops, and then I would take the footage, and the camera audio, the actual DV tape, import it into iMovie, capture the footage in iMovie, the audio, take the, obviously like delete the footage, so I've just got the audio. So I had the guitar audio that I was playing, and I would sync it up, painstakingly sync it up. I don't know how, I just sort of by trial and error just sunk it up, and I would sync it up to the drum loop. I was like, hey, cool, I've got like a multi-track thing going on. Like, I never thought to ask my brother, how do you use GarageBand? You know, I could plug in through your interface and use GarageBand because it had emulations back then, and they were half decent. Never thought to do that. So I recorded the guitar like that, imported it into iMovie. So then I've got a drum track and I've got one guitar track. Hey, happy days. Amazing. I thought that was the best thing ever. And I thought, oh, I could do bass through the guitar amp as well. Played the song out of iMovie as it was, the drums and the guitar. And then I played bass, which was, I think, like an old Cort. Didn't sound great. Totally raw through the clean channel of the guitar amp, through the guitar speaker. Again, into the camcorder. Did all the rigmarole, importing that again. So then I had drums, guitars and bass, and I thought, God, this is the greatest thing ever. And then I recorded some lead guitar on top of that, did the whole process again, put it all together, made sure it wasn't absolutely blowing out, you know, past zero, wasn't clipping, and I thought, hey, cool, I've got a song. And as you will hear, guys, it doesn't sound great, but it gets my point across. And I think to this day, I'm still proud of it as like a first attempt. At the time, I thought, this is cool. I'll do this again. And it was quite a few years after this that I actually learned to do what I do now. You know, do it properly through an interface using a DAW. You know, who would have thought? But yeah, guys, I'm going to put my glasses on and do a reaction to that track I recorded, that first ever track I recorded.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I am in the DAW, we've got raw camera audio, and I am gonna show you the first ever thing I recorded properly by myself. Whew, let's go. Okay, the drums sound good because those drums are a pre-mixed loop, like any kind of loop that you would get, and I just sort of looped it. I think there's a few different loops used in this track, but there's no drum programming going on at all. This is just loops that I dropped into iMovie. Let's continue. It's totally mono. The guitars are straight up the middle. Yeah, almost completely raw. There's no mixing going on with those guitars. Tons of low end. That is just what's coming off the speaker. Yeah. This track, there wasn't much in the way of riffs, really, I don't think. I can't think what my mentality was when I was tracking it, but I was like, oh, let's just play along to the drums and see what happens. And yeah, so the bass, I'm pretty sure is just the bass guitar going through the amp, through the guitar amp. But the good thing is, because of that camcorder with the compressor limiter on it, it's actually compressing the bass, which makes it sound not terrible. But again, yeah, not great stuff. As you can hear, I know nothing about mixing low end or mixing at all. So we've got that lead guitar coming in there, that affected lead guitar. It's a cool sound, I guess. Okay, so I was feeling that I completely forgot about this. I must have put some like sample sound effects in there. Sounds kind of moody, I guess, kind of epic. I mean, the riff is cool, but that's not what we're talking about here today. We're talking about the sound. Yeah, it's cool. The drum loop changed. Just thought it sounded good. Yeah, the kick drum is non-existent because the bass guitar and the kick drum are fighting for that low end. That is a massive symptom of amateur mixers, is they just have no idea what to do with the low end. With this part, it seems like I just have no idea what I'm doing. I'm kind of just jamming on that, that low string. And the lead, no idea either. It sounds kind of cool, but yeah. It's quite tight. I'll give myself that. My 19, 20-year-old self, I could play quite tight at that point. It's not perfect, but the playing's okay. The playing's okay. And if it was mixed how I mixed it now, it wouldn't sound half bad. I don't think. Like the arrangement and the playing, I mean. Yeah, like on the palm mutes, there's like way too much low end. And because of the compressor on the camera, the camera mic, it is, the volume of the guitar is like all over the place. It's all over the place. I guess that's it. My thoughts on it? I mean, it's all mono, big no-no for metal. Too much low end on the guitars. The guitar tone itself is too dark. There's way too much low end rumbliness happening. The bass is like almost completely raw, except for what's going on with the compressor on the camera. And I mean, there's just like boring drum loops just repeated for way too long. I mean, this is like 2.5 minutes, something like that. And it's just really boring. Yeah, I mean, again, it's not a finished song. It is a first attempt at recording all by myself. And at this point, I know nothing about EQ, nothing about compression or effects or anything. I'm just like, oh, that sounds cool. That sounds heavy. And this was like the first thing I recorded like properly that I showed to people. I was like, hey, do you think this sounds cool? I might show you all the other stuff I did at some point. Yeah, but we'll see. Okay, cheers.
So what did you guys think? Thanks for indulging me. I've just been in a very reflective mood, and I thought I would check out that first ever recording, and I'd not heard that thing. I don't think I've heard any of those first recordings since 2000, at least a decade. It's nice to still have them. It's cool to, like, don't delete your old stuff thinking like, oh, this is shit, no one's gonna like this. It's cool to, look back after, like 18 years and be like, that's where I started. That's where I got the bug for this stuff. Anyway, guys, like, where did you start your recording journey? Like, tell me below. I'll read it. What do you think of all the stuff you did back then? Whether it's like a year ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, let's hear it. What's your first home recording experience? That's about it, guys. Thanks for sticking around this long. If you like the video, subscribe and all that rubbish. And check out the links below. Got music down there. My side project, Habitual Slaughter, is old school death metal. Got a new EP out called Bloody Mess. It's heavy as fuck. Check it out, enjoy it, and play some guitar.